So I'm really going to digest this down into five key trends I want everybody to think about in and really outside of healthcare. This impacts everything to do with consumers at CES 2022. Here's what I want you to know. So we've got these five trends. Let's see. I'm sorry, I'm trying to move through these. Here we go. I'll click through them. The first major trend, which affects everybody on the planet, started out in the pandemic and persists, and that's the digital transformation of people. It started with working from home and schooling from home for our younger members and families. But, all of a sudden, sourdough breads appeared on Instagram and people were baking and using the kitchen for the basic human needs of food and nutrition, again, to do with health and well-being. But in this digital transformation, really everything was starting to connect from home. And in that connecting from home then was this second trend to keep in mind at CES, which is DIY, everything that we could DIY. That is doing things for ourselves, from learning with Coursera and Masterclass to understanding how to change oil in a car because we didn't feel like going to the auto shop if they were even open and accessible to us for appointments, and increasingly doing more self-empowered. And this is a trend, by the way, we saw come out of the 2008 Great Recession before, and here we were again in lockdown, doing more DIY. This really then morphed over into healthcare and self-care at home, as Robin mentioned. The home increasingly evolving as our health hub, little h, from telehealth for people enrolled in Medicare, which grew, we just learned from CMS, by 63-fold during the pandemic. That has tapered off some, but interestingly enough, one area of telehealth that has maintained momentum has been in mental health, which I'll talk about in a minute. Also, growing use of food as medicine. Again, I talked about the kitchen, and you see a lot of kitchen trends at CES 2022. The bedroom as a place of health for sleep. Again, you're going to see connected beds, oral care in the bathroom, smart toothbrushes. We saw a lot of interesting uptake from Nielsen data on oral care, and of course, connected fitness and wearable tech, which the CTA forecast that came out midsummer looked at all kinds of wearable tech like smartwatches, smart rings, hearables from, say, Valencell and others, and then increasingly air quality, which we've seen trending up at CES in the last couple of years. This year, a hot thing, because of course, people staying at home more. So watch for those hygiene categories as well. Now, I mentioned mental health a minute ago. So two other trends to keep in mind, again, crossing all areas, but obviously directly impacting our health. Mental health and financial health. First, anxiety, sleep, and depression up hockey stick growth at the beginning of the pandemic, but to this day, we have the epidemic inside the pandemic and after the pandemic of mental health and behavioral health impacts. In the pandemic era, the post-pandemic era, a lot of growth in digital health investment in the last year. And we just recently saw the going public of Pear Therapeutics, a CES attendee over the last couple of years, and the whole digital therapeutic area growing like topsy. And you'll hear a lot about that in our panel. So again, mental health, really important to keep in mind for people looking for relief through connectivity and digital health and other digital fun things at CES 2022. And keep the following last trend in mind: financial health. Consumers have to pay for stuff. They've got to part with hard-earned dollars. So people are looking for value, right? In this sense of money value, but also values. Companies that respect their data and privacy, companies that embrace ESG, the environmental, societal, and governance goals of the UN sustainability goals. ESG is becoming really hot for the biggest companies who are showing up at CES globally. So keep value and values in mind. And finally, let me leave you with one thing, that at CES, it's the Consumer Electronics Show. Everything is connected. And when a human can't connect to the internet, Wi-Fi, broadband, they lose out. They lost out in the pandemic. So remember, in our new definition of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, connectivity is a social determinant of health and well-being. Keep that in mind as you're looking at shiny new things that connect at CES. I want to wish everybody great health, a great CES, and lots of love and goodness in the new year.